Thank you guys for coming today. This is our little short time to spend together talking about easy ways to bring assistive technology into the classroom.
So first of all, I created a Toolkit Tuesday folder on the Google Shared Drive. So this whole presentation with the links are available inside that link, and you access it just like you would to get to your grade level folders. But that is just a nice, short, easy way for you to have this to keep in case there's something that you want to go back and reference, but there's also some important links that are attached.
And there are notes in the notes section that might, if you forget anything after you leave.
So the first slide is just which best describes your current feelings about assistive technology, and then thinking about why. So take a couple minutes, and then if you're comfortable, we'll ask you to share out. Anybody would like to share?
So I feel like the top right, it's a great concept. I like where I want to be to assist a lot of my twice exceptional students with assistive technology, and I'm not there yet.
All right. Anyone else?
Sure. I feel like I'm in the bottom one because I do try to incorporate things in the computer lab when they come to try to help the kids with that. But I'm always trying to find new things too.
I'm that side, yeah. I know something about assistive technology because of my daughter who has an IEP.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. All right.
So that's
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about what is assistive technology, because I think sometimes we get confused just talking about what exactly it is. It's any device, piece of equipment, or system that helps the person with a disability work around his challenges so he can learn, communicate, or simply function better. This was a definition from Reading Rockets. It's way better than the one the federal government provides because that one is a little wordy and kind of confusing. So we talked about options that are available. We have options for listening, executive functioning, math, reading, and writing. This can range from low-tech options like highlighters or guided reading strips to high-tech options like speech-to-text and touchscreens. So we have the whole range when we talk about assistive technology. We have lots of options available. Some are free, some cost money, some are available to everyone and are easy to incorporate, and others we have to get from assistive technology. So then the next one is who can benefit. As I said before, it's a federal law that says we have to consider assistive technology for every kid who has an IEP, but it's also beneficial for kids who are receiving Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, English language learners, and then reluctant learners who might have signs of dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and dysgraphia, and as Caitlin mentioned, are twice exceptional learners who sometimes feel like they should be able to, but in certain areas are not able to or can't. So assistive technology can be great for them to kind of
This color is red.
level the playing field for them.
This color is blue.
Sorry guys, I was just trying to get a piece of assistive technology up for you. So Jennifer kind of also talked a little bit about how it can range in, there's a spectrum. You can have very low-tech options to very high-tech options. And what we have kind of found through talking to people and doing some research ourselves is that you're probably doing more already in your classroom than you acknowledge. There are some very low-tech options like highlighting text that is considered an assistive technology tool. It doesn't have anything to do with computers or technology as you think of it, but it's an option that is really great for students if you want them to focus on a certain aspect of the text, bringing their attention to it through a highlighter, or even large print text is also an assistive technology strategy that you could use. This is a mouse, just a regular computer mouse with a little Velcro dot attached to it. And it's really helpful for learners who have gross motor skills or they are having a hard time clicking. It's just a great strategy that's super easy. You can just put the Velcro dot on the top of the mouse where you want them to click, and it helps them really focus the clicking. Timers are a great option also. Tread lightly with figuring out if a timer is going to cause stress or if it's going to be helpful, but you can incorporate the use of timers for including breaks or for work time. Work time is 10 minutes, then a 2-minute break, or just to help kids keep organized, like, okay, I have 10 more minutes to complete this activity, I gotta keep it moving. So these are all very low tech options that are easy to implement almost immediately. I use Post-it notes almost every single day in my guided reading lessons, covering up parts of the text that I don't want them to see or that are not necessarily important at that current time. Like most of my kids have an index card as a placeholder as they are reading and moving it through their text. It just helps them keep their eyes moving.
Blue. Yellow.
And
Press any color.
I'm gonna just turn the volume off. Okay.
Right, and some other options that are available, these would be considered high-tech options, meaning a student would have to have access to a computer or some sort of device while they're doing this. This is like a word prediction software. If you have kids who maybe can recognize words but can't necessarily spell them, we do have options like that available. There are also options that can be, there are extensions in Google and different apps that can kind of help predict words. This one is one, it's from Boardmaker. I'm sure you might have heard of that. That's a way to...
McLean to the office, McLean.
For some of our learners who require very explicit instruction, lots of visuals, it's a way to provide instruction. I've used it to assess students who need a touch screen. Do a Boardmaker program and they have several options and it talks to them while it's giving them the test. This is one of my favorites. Actually just looked in the cost of this today. It's called a reader pen. If a child has difficulty reading, this allows them to take a regular book and the pen slides over the writing and then it will read the text to them. The great feature about this though is that it comes with a headphone jack so that if they don't want to disturb their classmates, they put the headphones in and then it can read the text to them. One of the other features this has is maybe they have one word that's an unfamiliar word. They can set it to dictionary mode and highlight just that, or run the reader over just that word. It tells them how to say the word and what the word means. So if you have kids who are too embarrassed to say, I don't know what this word is, it's a great, as a way to scaffold that instruction. We also have touch screens, which I'm sure you guys have seen. And online, there's a program called Natural Reader, which again is another way. If you have a PDF document or something that you found online, you can just, it's free. You just kind of cut and paste into Natural Reader and it will read the text to them. The good thing about this one is it allows them different reader voices, because some kids have a preference about that. So they can use the different reader voices in that. And like I said, anything online, you copy and paste the text into the Natural Reader app online, and then it'll read it right to them.
We talked about that being a good support for students who will be taking SOLs and will be having an online audio accommodation. That if they're used to accessing that, especially like thinking about third graders, they've never taken an SOL, they don't really know what to expect, and then we don't really want them sitting down on the day of the SOL, that being the first time that they're ever accessing any sort of online audio accommodation. So that could just be a way to preview, if you're doing unit assessments, you could use this program to have your kids take the unit assessment through this so that they're used to having that audio. Audio sounds very different than a person when you're reading it, and so just getting them used to the way that that's going to sound could be helpful. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a nice kind of like, these are your low-tech options, here are some high-tech options. Again, since you have access to this, you can take a look further into any of these things, and of course Jen and I are happy to sit down and go over anything that you find a little bit more in detail if you would like that. So if you open up your computers and find the slideshow in our folder for Toolkit Tuesday, this link, if you click it, it brings you right to the Assistive Technology Resources page through the FCPS net. And this is a great resource. It kind of breaks down more intricately, specifically what you're looking for. So if you have a student who has some sort of dyslexia tendencies, you can just click right here on the folder, and then it brings you to some county-approved accommodations and modifications and things that might be helpful for them.
Do you want to find it?
Mm-hmm. It's there, it's a folder, we should have access to it.
We're just clicking and checking things
Yeah,
out.
just kind of poke around. You've got a couple minutes.
Just use folder, so it's there.
And it was interesting when we saw the survey, everyone said they had never even heard of this. Because we know, again, our assistive technology resource teacher makes it available, like we have access to it, but this is actually a free county resource, and it does give access to all of this for everyone in the county who has access. So you can go down to the next to the last slide. And I'm just going to click on that link
For this project specifically.
and then click on that one that is right there. There you go. The great thing about this too is you can look up by subject or keyword if you have something in particular that you're interested in. It will show you apps and programs. A lot of people had asked about math, which is great because it's right here. And then it will show you everything that we have for math. And some of these are actually created by AT resource teachers. I actually have a project that got selected to go to the AT resource page a few years ago. I had made it was adapted math resources, and it was, you remember when we had the instant centers in elementary school where they could, like reading, and it was every page was about a different subject. I did one of those for adapted technology resources. So, you know, there's so much available here.
There's an auto summary.
On Word?
In Word.
There is also in Google, there's a speech to text functionality.
To try it out.
Yeah.
So the thing on the computer that was in different colors, is that a board maker's activity that you were?
Yeah, that I just did open up, this was a Choose It Maker for colors.
Oh, okay.
But I have a student who is able to pull her wheelchair right up to here, and then this computer is all touchscreen adaptable. So we have one for colors, we have one for letters, and so it's you can actually record your own voice. So it's me telling her, you know, it just says like touch the letter A or find B, things like that. So she, like, it's very routine, like it's part of her built-in day. It's one of her stations. Of course, I typically have the headphones plugged in there right here, but they're not plugged in right now.
Well, that's good to see how you could utilize board makers in that way, because the only times I've seen is people use it for, like, you know, images to
And they print it out,
cards,
yeah.
they print it out, so it's good to see it in a different way.
Board Maker and Choose It Maker, Early Math Skills, these are all things that our ATS provider has put on my computer. They're available, but our ATS service provider is Eric Fleming, and if you send him an email and say, I have a school computer and I would like these programs put on it, he's very willing to come and put it on there.
There's one similar too, if you just want the icons, it's called Lesson Pix, P-I-X. If you just want icons to be able to label everything, I think it's $36 a year, minimal cost, but you can create token boards, you can create schedules, and it has all sorts of icons available. Again, if you just want that print option, you can create vocabulary cards. There are a lot of options, and it's not the only one out there. Boardmaker, I think, is just the most well-known.
Boardmaker is also a little bit on the older side of it, like the functionality of it just looks like an older program, but it does the job. For me, it's a nice, like, so for my student, if she touches C in the direction wants to touch A, it prompts her like, that's not A, try again. So having the same language, you know, she's being reinforced that that's the wrong one, I need to find the right one. So it does get the job done, but it's just not as aesthetically motivating as some other programs out there might be.
It can be a little frustrating at times just to be able to use it. You can have some of the same capabilities in, again, Google Slides, but just thinking outside of the box. If I create a Google slide with links, then you know, you could get a picture, use Snagit Maker, just get a picture and put it on the page, and then have them click on that, and if they get the right answer, it can be redirected to a slide that says correct, and if they get the wrong answer, it can be redirected to a slide that says, you know, try again. So we can think outside of the box. There are options where we can take any kind of program that's available and make a lot of things more accessible for students. I have created graphic organizers to use in Google Docs for kids who need speech to text, and then they can just click on the different boxes in the graphic organizer and speak right into it, and it writes down their thoughts, so then when they go to actually create a writing sample, it's right there for them.
So if you have more questions, because poking around on the ATS website has you know, sparked some, definitely write them down. We can follow up with you, and I'm also more than happy to put you in contact with our ATS support here at the school. He's a great resource additionally to what we are giving you now.
I just have one question about the little pad you put on the mouse. Is it like sandpaper feeling?
I noticed kids tend to respond better if it's the rough side of the Velcro dot as opposed to the soft side. But then I've had some kids say, I don't like that, and they want the softer side.
Oh, okay.
But it said it's a great tool if a kid not have any kind of use with the mouse, which really limits their ability.
If I could get someone who is driving a Toyota, a minivan, gray Toyota minivan with the license plate JYN 8537, if you could move your vehicle, please. Thank you.
Oh, as I was saying, it could be, they might like either one. The good thing is with the little dots, you can go along and put anything on. So after you fill out our Toolkit Tuesday, you're going to fill out the Google form below. Just click on it. At the bottom of that form is a link to a Google Doc that we created that has a list of these resources and more. Lots of stuff available. The National Virtual Manipulative Library, which is fantastic. It's literally a library of online manipulatives. It has to be opened in Internet Explorer, just as a side note, because it needs to run Java, which doesn't run on Google. But there are other ones there. One I want to draw your attention to as well is the FCPS digital ecosystem, because if you ever have a question about, can I use this app, is it allowed, you always want to double check. We protect our students' privacy, so especially when it comes to those Google extensions that we can use, we have to be very careful, because a lot of them they share information with third parties. So we don't want to do that. So again, FCPS, they have a committee that goes through all of these as they become available and says, yes, this one's great, no, don't use this one. Always a great resource to double check and make sure that you are protecting our students' confidentiality. But the form's here, just fill it out, let us know, and if there's anything else you need access to, you can let us know that as well. And you say, well, I want to know how to do this or this, and we've seen some of the responses from this morning, so we can continue to add resources to that page if you would like that. Can you click on the link? Okay, awesome.
It's in that slideshow.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah, on that slideshow you were looking at.
Wasn't that on Google?
Yes,